And hello, Shima girls. It's Shima here. And you know what I would like to do with this video? Yes, it's a story time video, and I'm definitely going to get into that really painful personal story. But every time I turn around, I see that new subscribers have joined, and it makes me feel so honored. I've been doing this again since 2007 and really, back to back videos starting in 2008. So I've been here for a while, but some of the ladies, believe it or not, have never heard of me before. So I would like to do a reintroduction in a way, every other video or every couple of videos, I would like to do a reintroduction because, I want to keep it fair to the new subscribers who are watching my videos for the very first time and are seeing my face and my hair for the very first time. Say, who is this girl? Who is this Shima? So, hello, new subscribers. My name is Hiroshima Kindlin, and well, I am the published author of 6 books. Yes, I've been writing since the age of 10 and have written everything from fiction to nonfiction and everything in between, even self-help books and things of that nature. For example, like The Beauty of Textured Hair to help us grow longer, healthier hair. That was one of the first books I've ever written, before I introduced my Shima hairline to the world. And my Shima hairline consists of my Shima oil, my Shima hairline cream, Shima hair repair shampoo, Shima hair repair leave-in conditioner, as well as a whole host of new products I added to help us grow this gorgeous, thick, apple textured hair. By the way, this is a brand new braid out. I already posted the picture in the community section, so you ladies can take a peek at it. And so far, you ladies love it, and I'm so happy. I kept it in 4 plaits, all right, and kept it like that for just 4 days. Then I unraveled it, and then I, put just enough Shima oil throughout my tresses, so you can see this gorgeous shine and the moisture, so that the hair could keep growing. Okay, so yes, I'm very happy with my natural hair so far, and it's blooming, 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 as you can see, with protective styling and Shima oiling. That's basically the main routine I've been doing. So let me continue with the introduction to my new subscribers. And so yes, as I was saying, I am the president and owner of my own hair care company called Shima Hair Inc. Again, that's where all my Shima hair products come from, Shima Hair Inc. And yes, as I said, I started my YouTube channel way back in 2007 to bring attention and awareness to the fact that yes, Afro textured hair can grow past shoulder length, because for so long it was always this stereotype that Black women's hair can grow past a certain length, which is usually shoulder length. And once it grows past that, are you wearing a weave? Are you wearing a wig? Are you wearing extensions? They don't want to believe that Black hair can really thrive, and it can thrive. It's just that we have to relearn a different way, because the thing is, unfortunately, since we were little girls, nobody ever really took the time to properly teach us how to properly care for our unique hair texture. Okay, our texture is way different than Caucasian hair, and unfortunately we've been imitating the ways of the Caucasian hair techniques, with our hair. And our hair is not like Caucasian hair. It's still hair, but it's not like Caucasian hair. Okay, our hair has to be treated differently because it is 10 times more fragile due to the natural curl pattern. You cannot just run a comb through it, and like most Caucasian hair, you can just run a comb or a brush through it because of the curl pattern. All right, it will literally get stuck. Okay, if it's not properly detangled, if it's not well conditioned, it will get stuck. The comb, the hairbrush will get stuck, and we cannot just rip through it, because we do that, we're ripping through our hair. We don't want to do that. Okay, so yes, I started Shima Hair 21. That's the name of my channel, Shima Hair 21, to bring attention and awareness to the fact that Afro textured hair can grow to fairy tale mythical lengths. Okay, and look, I'm on my way there again. Okay, so this is living proof. I am living proof that it can be done. I've also competed in major beauty pageants like the Miss Florida USA pageant back in 2000 and 2001. So I was part of the pageant scene, ladies, the national beauty pageants. If you win the state, you go on to Miss USA. If you win Miss USA, you go on to Miss Universe. And I was part of that world back in 2000 and 2001. Okay, and last but by no means least, I also have a twin brother named Nagasaki. So yes, I am Hiroshima and he is Nagasaki. So I am the writer, Hiroshima, and my twin brother, Nagasaki, is the artist as well as the computer genius. Okay. And together we make a great team. And I didn't know this, but we actually made it into the Reddit website. Yes, the Reddit website. And from what I researched, Reddit was created back in 2005, just like YouTube, which was created back in 2005. And today it's valued at about $3 billion. And these people were talking about us. The controversial names, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But basically, it was just astonishment and amusement and bemusement and everything in between. It draws attention. Everywhere we go, our names draw attention. And we made it onto the Reddit website, not once, but twice, and into other websites as well. Just talking about our names, they saw, how when me and my brother, birthday comes along and I share with you ladies, but they took the birthday cake, the picture of our birthday cakes, and they couldn't believe that it said, "Happy birthday, Hiroshima," and "Happy birthday, Nagasaki." And it was just blew their minds. And well, yes, I've said this story before, but it was my dad's idea to name us Hiroshima and Nagasaki because he said when we were in my mother's belly, we were so explosive in there, fighting each other, kicking and punching. And he was listening to all that inside my mother's belly. I said, darn, this sounds like two atomic bombs in there, like two bombs just booming in there. And it came to him, oh, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And there we are. We were born as Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and we've been Hiroshima and Nagasaki ever since. Okay, so that's our story regarding the names anyway. And what, Shima girls, it's story time. And part of the reason why I'm sharing all of these personal and in many cases very painful, stories of mine can be summed up in one very powerful quote. The late Maya Angelou said, "There is no greater agony than bury an untold story inside you." And my untold story is The Other Hiroshima. My story, my memoir, my truth. I wrote this memoir because it was time to release myself from my past, my pains, and my tribulations. The heartbreak and the psychological torture that I kept hidden inside for so many, many years. No one, and I do mean no one on earth, including my own family members, know of the tragic, horrible things that have happened to me. Most of it taking place during my early 20s, as well as my childhood, and it's all in here in this book. My book has been out now for a little under 4 weeks. It's been on Amazon as well as Barnes & Noble, and it's currently available in paperback, hardcover, and ebook. And well, my story time today revolves around what happened to me when I went to my local clinic. When I was 19 years old, I went to my local clinic to see about these very painful periods. I've been having very painful periods since I was 11 years old, but gradually the pain increased, and increased until I just couldn't really function anymore. The Midol pills weren't working anymore. The Tylenol pills weren't working anymore. The teas weren't working anymore. So my dad decided to take me to the local clinic to see about these horrible, painful periods of mine. Little did I know that by going to that clinic on that day, this lady doctor would negatively alter my relationship with sex for a good portion of my life. Okay, it really, really affected me. And I describe it all in explicit detail in the story I'm about to share with you today. But I would like to add that while this is a very painful and emotionally draining, process, I do have to admit that by releasing my secrets and things that I haven't talked about or share with anybody, for over 40 years, all these secrets hidden inside me, bottled up, afraid to share them with anybody. I have to admit that that after finally revealing my secrets, it has been a very freeing, a very cathartic experience. It has released my soul and it has lifted so much weight off of my shoulders. Just sharing, finally speaking and sharing my personal tragedies with the world. I know it's in the form of a book, but But thankfully, thanks to technology, I can also speak to you through this camera. And also by talking about it, it has helped me to heal as well from the terrible, painful memories that I've been carrying all these years. And it's very painful to talk about. I haven't healed 100%. I've just started to heal. I've just started to share my real life tragedies, with the world. And it's been a process, but it's been a learning process and a healing process. It has been affecting me positively, finally sharing the terrible things that I've endured in my past. And well, I feel so proud of myself, so proud that I'm finally releasing my story, my memoir, my truth out into the world. Finally, after 40 years, you know, it takes a long time because you are so afraid of being judged, of being, picked on, of being laughed at, of being, again, judged. People love to judge. A lot of people are very judgmental. That's why so many of us, don't want to share our personal stories, don't want to share, especially if they're very painful. But we have to be brave. We have to find that bravery inside us. And thankfully, I found my bravery, my courage. And first of all, I wrote it all in a book. First, a book that I didn't think I would ever write, ever in my entire life. I never thought this book that I'm holding in my hand would ever exist. But it exists today. So here goes, ladies. But before I begin, and I know I've said this a million times before, before I begin my story time. But again, as I said at the beginning, I'm always gaining new subscribers. And I think it's fair to warn my new subscribers, especially when it comes to my memoir, what they're in for. My memoir is a very, very raw, very, very explicit, very, very graphic, because the things that happened to me in my life have been very, very raw, very, very explicit, and very, very graphic. And that's exactly how I decided to write my book. Because I needed to write the truth exactly as it happened in order for me to really heal, you know. And with this particular story time about the lady doctor, that tended to me, I have to warn you that it revolves around what I consider to be a sexual assault and very disgusting, horrifying words that were said to me as the assault was happening to me, to my body, to the most private area in my body. So before I begin, trigger warning, big time trigger warning. Anyway, here goes, ladies. Unfortunately, the violation of my body did not end when I was a little girl. And it wasn't just men who would negatively alter my relationship with sex. A woman also had a hand in it, literally. Ever since my menstrual cycle began at age 11, I would always suffer from these indescribably painful menstrual cramps. So painful, in fact, that when I was 19 years old, my father had to take me to the local clinic. I was on the bathroom floor, lying flat on my back, kicking the walls with my feet and pounding the floor with my fists in sheer agony. The Tylenol and Midol pills weren't working anymore. The teas weren't working anymore. Nothing was working anymore. So yes, Dad saw no choice but to take me to the local community clinic around the corner, called the Jesse Trice Community Health Center. So I was admitted as a patient. This white American lady doctor with graying hair was assigned to me. This was my first time in my entire life that I ever had to go to a clinic to see about my horrible menstrual cramps, so I didn't know what to expect. Before I knew it, I was made to lie down on the examination table and instructed to remove my panties and spread my legs. She took a medical rag and at first very gently and professionally began wiping my period blood with it, sliding it down the lips of my vagina in vertical motions. She then took this long plastic tube instrument that resembled a straw which she attempted to insert inside my vagina. Inside my vagina? Nothing goes inside my vagina until my wedding night. My mind screamed in horror. I was so afraid she'll break my hymen, and in a panic, I began to shift my lower torso from side to side as she tried to push the long plastic tube instrument inside my vagina. No! Did it break anything? Did it break anything? I began wailing, tears spilling down my cheeks. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. Hiroshima! Did somebody hurt you? She cried out in alarm. I remember nodding, indicating to her that yes, somebody touched me. But what I got from her in response was far from sympathy or understanding. You're not the only one. You're not the only one, she replied dismissively. And after she made a few other unsuccessful attempts to insert the long plastic tube instrument inside my vagina, she took that same medical rag she used so gently on me at the beginning and pummeled it against my open vagina in a fit of rage. She then proceeded to clean the rest of my period blood by viciously scraping the rag up and down my vagina lips over and over. This action spoke volumes to me. Her hateful energy translated two main things. Who cares if you were raped or molested? Get over it, N-word. And you can't possibly be no 19-year-old virgin. That doesn't exist, especially not in the hood. I'm I'm just too tight. I tried to explain to her as to why she couldn't get the long plastic tube instrument inside my vagina. You're not that tight, she replied icily. And when I tried to explain it to her again, she retorted cruelly, It's you, it's you, it's you, insinuating that I was just putting on an act, pretending that I was a virgin. This quote unquote medical professional basically assaulted me, but I said nor did anything about it. Just like with the other 5 men who violated me, I also kept her violation a secret, a part of another horrible memory tucked inside my head for years to come. I was then taken to another lady doctor because this one couldn't find anything wrong with me. The other lady doctor, another American white woman, but much younger, also tried to insert a long plastic tube instrument inside my vagina and actually succeeded. But not without more screams and wailing from me, however. Wow, it's like you're being raped, she said, stunned, but not in an icy, hateful tone like the other one. This lady doctor actually had compassion in her eyes for me, and I was thankful for that. And no, my hymen did not break, which was such a relief. At the end of the day, the diagnosis was very painful periods. And I was put on more pain medication. Sadly, this situation caused me to have physical, psychological, and behavioral issues for a very long time. But one of my best coping mechanisms was memory block. Just trying to block things out, trying to block out all the bad memories, all the bad scenes, and disgusting, horrifying words. In my household, even though it's not an overly religious household, being a virgin was very, very important. It was taught from the day that I was a little girl, to protect your hymen, protect, your gift. My hymen was considered a gift that it is only meant, for marriage. So I grew up with that, protecting my hymen, protecting my virginity. Nothing goes inside there until my wedding night from a little girl. So I grew up with that. But unbeknownst to me, growing up with that type of mentality in the inner city, well, also called quote unquote the hood, was kind of unheard of, even though it does happen, but it's rare, very rare. And so that local clinic was located in the middle of the hood. And well, I was like a needle in a haystack when that lady doctor discovered that I was a virgin. And the situation was that I was overly afraid. I was so afraid, I wanted to protect myself. I didn't want to fail my family. If she were to break my hymen, I would have failed, my family. I would have failed myself. I would have failed my future husband. That would not be a virgin on our wedding night, because my hymen was broken into, even if it's not by a man. But it was just so important for me to protect my virginity, no, at any cost. But this lady doctor, as you can see, she took it upon herself. She threw out all of her professionalism out the window, and proceeded to brutalize me, and in many ways sexually assault me down there, because at the end of the day, it's still a sexual organ down there. And she, in my opinion, she basically sexually assaulted me, brutalized me, traumatized me. And this situation is one of my most painful situations that you're going to read about in my book, The Other Hiroshima. It took a lot for me to decide to share this story with you today, ladies. I almost didn't. But again, if I'm brave enough to put it in the book, I I need to find the bravery to talk about it as well, because it's part of my healing process, and it's hopefully it can help inspire and other ladies who have gone through traumatic situations like that as well, to find it in themselves to speak about it, to talk about it to someone who would listen, who will understand, who will have compassion. As you can see at the end of the story, I spoke about the second lady doctor who had compassion and concern that's shown in her eyes when she discovered, my extreme fear of, of basically losing my virginity. And she was understanding because, something told her that I went through some tragedies in my life, you know and I was just thankful that, that it's not every medical professional that is so horrible to their patients. It's always those few bad apples that mess it up for everybody else. Okay, and unfortunately I ended up with a bad one of those bad apples. And the thing is that these bad apples, they negatively alter people's lives. It has lasting effects in people's lives. We're dealing with sexual partners later on in life, becoming reclusive, becoming introverted. All of that, negatively affects people's lives. And it's sad. It's all just so sad. And well, that story, among many other tragedies, can be found in my new memoir, The Other Hiroshima. And it's so sad to have to say that, but it's the truth. My early 20s were full of tragedies. They were full of a lot of good times too. But the bulk of my painful, situations happened in my early 20s. Going out into the world for the very first time, experiencing, what it's like to be an adult for the very first time. I ran into a lot of bad apples, a lot of horrible, horrible people, that did horrible, horrible things to me. And again, my book is not 518 pages for nothing. 518 pages, 15 chapters. It's not this thick for nothing, ladies. It's not this thick for nothing. My early 20s were a mixture of tragedies and good times. Amazon, Barnes and Noble are currently carrying my memoir. Okay. And with that said, I would like to thank you ladies for listening to my third story time that I've shared with you directly from my book, The Other Hiroshima. Okay, so thank you for listening, ladies. Again, I hope that I've inspired and enlightened you in some way, help you find the courage to, face your tragic past, face your demons, and conquer them, so that you can release all that pain out of your system and become a new person, and live your life peacefully. Okay. Thank you, ladies. I will be seeing you shortly. Take care.